Xiaomi has joined the race and has come up with its first Ultra phone. Now anyone can add an Ultra or a Pro Max at the end, but for it to stick, it has to be justified. The Mi 11 Ultra costs 70,000 rupees, which isn't exactly cheap. But do we think it's justified or worth it? Absolutely. Now, this can't be the end of the review now, can it? So watch on to see why we feel so. Hey guys, Anathan here from C4A Tech and let's roll. The Mi 11 Ultra has two marquee features that sets it apart. Don't get me wrong, everything about this phone is well-rounded and bleeding edge. But the two we are gonna talk about in greater detail are the second screen at the back and those optics and how they work together with synergy. Let's start with that camera array. Physically, the camera array to the back looks really well done despite it being obnoxiously large. Setting it to the table doesn't cause the phone to wobble. Another reason for the setup to be this large is the fact that it houses the second screen as well. The primary camera is a 50 megapixel sensor paired with a f2 lens. The images shot with this is about as close to a point and shoot. A good point and shoot at that. Like the RX100 as I have seen in a smartphone get. Thanks to that ultra big sensor that lets you let a lot of light in. Take a look at this pic for example. This is under broad daylight. The colors are absolutely spot on, dead neutral with no added warmth or coolness. Scoping on the edges of the leaf in focus and we see a well-defined boundaries and the bokeh is super natural. The pollen on that flower is again very well detailed. Let's now try a different photograph. Here the entire shot has portions in and out of sunlight. A background of bland green and brown to show how the colors pop. The violets of the flowers just jump at you. Yeah, it's a little overdone with respect to pop, but hey, this is Instagrammable, right? The mud in the background has little islands of light and shadow which showcases excellent dynamic range of this sensor. Now, what is dynamic range? Quite simply put, it's the delta between brightest part of the picture and the darkest part of the picture. The different shades of green are pretty accurate to what I saw with my two God-given sensors. Since we are really happy with this sensor, let's peep a third photo. This was shot under very harsh sunlight. Not a very optimal situation to shoot, but the pic came out looking good despite being a tad warm. But again, dynamic range, details and colors are absolutely brilliant. When it comes to low light, no points for guessing, it's really good. There are pastel effects at times when it comes to smooth surfaces, but how it just brightens up the scene, it's just magic. So if you manage to nail the focus here, the picture is bound to come out real nice. We actually have three cameras to the back and I have spent half my video gushing about the primary. Let's now talk about the ultrawide and the periscope sensors. These are Sony IMX586 sensors. This isn't one of those situations where I bitch about the cameras making up the numbers. This sensor about a year was the primary on phones like the ONEPLUS 7T and the Samsung Galaxy S10, and that does show. Also, there isn't too much of a color shift going from the primary to the ultrawide. The picture shot with the ultrawide has the same brilliant dynamic range and colors. Details are a little less spectacular, but that's to be expected. I'm gonna put the ultrawide side by side with the three pictures we talked about before. So take a look. The bokeh on both the primary and the ultrawide are tastefully done. Now when it comes to the periscope camera, I believe that any zoom over 10x is not just useful for social media. I'm not saying there aren't any good use cases for it, but the 5x optical zoom here is pretty accurate and the pic shot with it came out looking really good. This one here can also shoot macros and the results speak for itself. I need to take a moment to compliment Xiaomi on their post-processing as well. They have some software wizardry going on that produces amazing results in terms of bokeh and colors. The camera interface is nice and clean with easy access to everything that one needs to post a killer picture on Insta. The videos are capped at 8K 24fps. That's 8K 24fps for all three sensors. I'm gonna give credit where credits are due. Even though it's not true 8K, we haven't seen that before from any other brand. Xiaomi has really thrown everything but the kitchen sink into the cameras. While in the subject of processing, might as well talk about the specs as well. We have Snapdragon 888, that's pretty much the best chip on the market for Android phones right now. 12 gigs of LPDDR5 Ram and 256 gigs of UFS 3.1 storage. All these are top of the line specs in today's day and age. There are no corners cut with respect to specs. Also, this segment of the video is sponsored by 28mobile.com. 28mobile has great service, quick shipping, and most importantly, they have pretty much any unique phone that you might want. You know, the ones that are not available in all markets. They should be available on 28mobile.com. So do check them out. I'll leave a link in the description below. There is a sizable 5000 mAh battery that will get you through most days. Coupled with that, there is a 67 watt fast charging, both wired and wireless. 67 watt for wireless charging. That's just nuts, bro. Granted, you need to purchase the charger from Xiaomi, a proprietary one, but nuts regardless. In my time with this phone, I had no trouble in the battery department except when I was using too much camera or when I was having marathon sessions of Call of Duty Mobile. But that was offset by the fact that this phone charges from 0 to 100 in 35 minutes. Xiaomi's claims do seem to check out for the most part, but please note that we got a 55 watt charger in the box and not the 67 watt brick. The display on the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra is probably one of the very best I've seen on a mobile device, period. This is at par with the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra or maybe even a little better. That's a little strange because usually Samsung retains its top shelf panels for its own flagships. I don't know what Xiaomi did or who they blackmailed to get this stupendous panel from Samsung, cause the 6.81-inch 120Hz QHD Plus AMOLED panel comes even with HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision support. It has a nominal brightness of 900 nits for normal usage and a whopping 1700 nits for HDR content. You have to take my word for it. This is an amazing media consumption device coupled with a nice set of speakers that gets really loud. Sadly, there is no headphone jack, but we do get an IR blaster and IP68 rating, so that's something. Now let's move on to that second marquee feature, that second display to the back. It's a 1-inch OLED panel. Well, it's a 1-inch OLED panel. There isn't much more to tell you about, but although it isn't the first implementation of a secondary display, I think it's one of the best implementations. Apart from the obvious I can see the time and notification when laying my phone face down argument, this screen can work in tandem with its brilliant rear cameras to give you the best selfies in town. If you are an influencer on Instagram or something, then this should be on your radar as your next phone. Let me tell you a story. A few years back when the S7 Edge from Samsung was released, we all thought that it was a stupid gimmick to see the phone light up at the edge to alert for notification for people who put their phones face down. But the trend seemed to have caught up well enough. I'm gonna put a few selfies shot with the front facing 20 megapixel selfie shooter and the back cameras to showcase how much of a game changer this could be if vanity is something important to you. I know Ash will love this. I'm not saying why because I still want a job, but you can guess it in the comments below. While you are there, you could also brighten our day with a like and a subscribe cause that really helps. Thanks. Moving on, the phone feels solid in hand. The camera bump is a little obtrusive and it does get in the way from time to time. At least for me personally, it seemed like a bother when I was unlocking the phone via the under-display fingerprint scanner. The phone weighs in at around 234 grams and that's quite heavy for me. You see, since the camera module here is a little chunky, the Mi 11 Ultra, it's a little heavier on the top. So at times, it might not be as ergonomic to single-handedly use it, but your mileage may vary. Let's now talk about the price. Ash said in his unboxing that he would be happy if the phone was priced under the S21 Ultra. Ideally, around 80k would have been the sweet spot, but Xiaomi did one better. The 12GB 256GB option of the Mi 11 Ultra comes in around 69,990 rupees. Nice. Now guys, I know 70k isn't small money, it's a big investment. Well, who am I kidding? It's a huge expense. But for what we get, we have a display that is best in class. Processor, top of the line. Build excellent. A little chunky but still excellent. Optics, battery and charging, really good. Software, goodish. This seems like a blind buy for the vast majority of people who are looking at a 70k to 1 lakh mark phone. So Xiaomi seems to have knocked this one out of the park, and I, for one, am very happy with recommending this device, and no, we did not get paid to say that. Well, with that, let's wrap this one up, and until next time, this is Anathan from C4E Tech. Bye bye.